Forget gold. Forget oil. There is a group of elements so weird, so contradictory, that they power literally everything you touch, yet I'd bet my lunch you can't name a single one. And here is the kicker. They aren't actually rare. The dirt in your backyard is packed with them. So why is the entire world teetering on the edge of a crisis over these rocks? Why are superpowers threatening each other, cutting off exports, and panicking over a pile of mud? Let's dive into the messy, toxic, and absolutely mind-blowing reality of rare earth minerals. So, what are we even talking about? 17 elements. The lanthanides plus yttrium and scandium. Names that sound like a mouthful of alphabet soup. Neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium. Seriously, try saying those 3 times fast, but forget the names. Just picture them as the vitamins of the modern world. You don't need a lot of vitamins to survive, but if you don't have them, your body crashes hard. Without these elements, your smartphone doesn't vibrate, your electric car doesn't move an inch, and that massive, sleek wind turbine you think is so green, it just sits there like a useless metal lawn ornament. Think about that tiny magnet in your wireless earbuds. That impossibly strong little thing that delivers that punchy bass you love? That's neodymium working its magic. Or that crisp, glowing red on your TV or monitor? That's europium. They are the unseen architects, the ghosts in the machine of everything we consider high-tech. They are the reason our militaries have precision-guided missiles and our fighter jets can turn on a dime. They aren't just rocks. They are the silent engines of the 21st century. But here is where the plot thickens. And trust me, it gets juicy. Extracting these things is an absolute nightmare. Imagine you have a giant bag of sand, and buried in that sand are 17 different colors of glitter. They all look almost identical. They stick together like clingy X's, and to separate them, you have to dissolve the whole bag in acid. Boil it until it's practically lava, and run it through 1,000 chemical filters. It takes chemistry that looks more like alchemy than science. It takes billions of dollars and a patience that only monks possess. It is messy, expensive, and frankly, kind of dangerous. For decades, the rest of the world looked at this horrendous, polluting process and said, nah, pass. Too hard, too dirty, too much work. But not China. While the West was busy outsourcing its dirty work and looking the other way, China leaned in. They didn't just lean in. They dove headfirst into the chemical soup. For decades, they built the factories, they paid the environmental price, and they hoarded the secrets. Fast forward to today, and they control roughly 90% of the processing, not the mining. Anyone can dig a hole. The processing. That's the real power. You can dig up mountains of rocks in America or Australia, but turning those rocks into usable, high-purity metal? That secret sauce is largely locked behind Chinese doors. They have the patents, they have the know-how, and they have the economies of scale. It costs them 1/4 of the price to refine these metals than it costs us. It's an industrial stranglehold. But let's get real for a second and talk about the dark side. The reason the West outsourced this wasn't just laziness. It was also about ignoring a massive mess. To get these minerals out of the ground in southern China, they used to pump ammonium salts directly into the soil, effectively injecting chemical poison into the earth to leach the metals out. The result? Literally dead mountains. Acidic rivers running through ghost towns. Toxic wastelands that look like the surface of Mars. The price we pay for our green electric vehicles and our clean energy is, ironically, being paid in blood and poisoned soil on the other side of the world. And that is the uncomfortable truth we don't like to talk about when we're patting ourselves on the back for buying a hybrid. Now, let's fast forward to 2025 and 2026. The rules have changed. China is turning the screws. They've just banned exports to a bunch of European countries. They've tightened licensing on the heavy hitters, the stuff like dysprosium and terbium, which are critical for making magnets that don't lose their power in high heat. Why? Because they know we are hooked. We are addicts, and they are the only dealer in town. If they cut the supply of those heavy rare earths, our F-35 fighter jets lose their radar edge, our missile guidance systems glitch, and our Tesla factories screech to a halt. High rollers in finance are sweating. Goldman Sachs estimates that if we lose just 10% of this supply, it triggers a $150 billion loss in global output. That's $1 billion headache for a handful of dirt. So, the West is scrambling. America is reopening old mines, Australia is digging faster, and Europe is trying to figure out recycling. But let me give you a reality check. It takes 20 years to build a competitive mine from scratch. 20 years! And it takes about 5 minutes for China to drop their prices and bankrupt that new mine. And recycling? That sounds like the perfect solution, right? Just pull these metals out of our old phones. Well, Japanese companies did the math and found out it costs a staggering 230% more to recycle these elements than to just import them from China. It is an economic war where we are bringing a knife to a gunfight. So, where does that leave us? We are standing at a tipping point. Scientists are scrambling in labs right now, trying to invent motors that use less of these elements, or trying to find substitutes that we haven't even discovered yet. It's a race against time. Every time you upgrade your phone or buy the latest EV, you are casting a vote in this global tug of war. We need to realize that these rocks aren't just rocks. They are the new oil. They are the geopolitical chess pieces of our generation. This story is far from over. It's messy, it's dramatic, and it affects your wallet and your freedom way more than you think. Should we destroy our own backyard to get them? Or should we get serious about forcing a recycling revolution? It's the most fascinating, terrifying, and essential conversation we aren't having. And honestly, I'm glued to see how this rocky road ends.